Good evening and welcome to Panchakarma Day 12. I hope that you had a wonderful day diving into your self-care and really getting things moving and stirring with your lymphatic system. We are really getting our bodies ready to handle the toxic load of everything that we're going to stir up in the second half of this second 10-day cycle we're entering into with Panchakarma, because the tail end of this 10-day period, we're going to dive really deep the last 3 days of it and do a full-on at-home Panchakarma experience, okay? And it's a load. It's a load for the lymphatic system to take on. So this is not going to be, the average day-to-day functioning of the lymphatic system. We are asking it to actually take on a bigger burden. And because of that, we really want to get the lymphatic system built up. We want to get that liquid fire state going so the body isn't overburdened as it's releasing all of the toxins that are going to start to excrete from the digestive organs, all of the ama that is going to be cleared with all these different pieces, all these 5 actions of purification that we are bringing in with this Panchakarma work. So I've already been introducing some things to you, and this week you really want to make sure that every single day you're either doing a salt scrub or you are doing gua sha, really starting to get the tissues, breaking up where you have adhesions or any kind of like dry pockets in your lymph where anything feels gravelly. Also, any areas where you have holding patterns, old scar tissue from surgeries. We're just really looking to loosen, unwind everything. We want to get those tissues to a more buttery state. So the more that you can kind of get your hands on your body, give yourself abhyanga, give yourself those, self-massage, and just get to know your tissues, start working them a little more deeply. It's going to be so essential. Make sure you give your body some of this care every single day. You can even double up on the salt scrubs and gua sha. If you do that, just make sure that you take a day of rest in between the salt scrubs, okay? You don't want to overdo the salt scrubs or you're going to start to irritate your skin. So it's important. We're not wanting to move to a place of irritation. And do listen to your body as well, because gua sha can stir up a lot of stuff. I know that I've been really hitting it with the free movement, getting that sweat on. I've also been getting all kinds of different movement in for my body. It's really felt good to drop in for that time in the morning. I've been averaging about an hour. And it's just been so good. And I do a lot of dance and continue to do movement while I'm doing gua sha. And I've brought in some weights and kettlebells and all kinds of stuff. I've just been really going off. And it's felt really good. I was doing Fei Lakudi, for the first couple of days. And now I did Rick James today, and it was so good. It was so good just moving my body to that funk, I love funk. So it was so freeing. And I was just thinking, you know what? I don't think I'm ever going to go back to what I was doing before, because I find that I am getting just as good of a sweat on, just as intensive of a workout as I was when I was doing more structured workouts, as when I was doing like the Chloe Ting challenge and some other things that I've taken on, but I'm having way more fun, and it feels so good to just sink into my body, really listen to what my body is telling me it needs that day. So I'm feeling this, and I think this is just the way I'm going to move forward. This is just how I'm going to incorporate movement as part of my daily routine from here on out. So this has been really eye-opening for me and been really cool. And I hope you're having these cool experiences and awakenings around moving your body in this way too. And I'd be really interested to hear about what's been coming forward for you. But today, I wanted to go over a few more of the detoxification techniques so you can start incorporating them, and bringing those pieces in and building on them as we travel further into this second 10-day cycle, so that when we hit the last 3 days, let's see, that'll be day 18, 19, and 20, okay? Day 18, 19, and 20, we're going to bring all the pieces in together and just really dive deep and just get at it, okay? So we're going to do that deep dive. We ain't going to play around. And I will ask you now to just start to kind of experiment, integrate these pieces that I'm talking about over these next few days, so you can get familiarized with them, as well as go out and get anything you need, any kind of supplies you need, so you have them on hand for day 18, 19, and 20. So you're not feeling like you have to go out, rush, get anything. Everything's set up for you, and that's just going to make the whole process flow more smoothly. So we've already talked about the detoxification organ of the skin, and we're working with detoxifying through that channel, with getting our sweat on, using that svedana. That's an important part of purification when we're doing Panchakarma. You're also getting that going on with salt scrubs, okay? So you're really covered with that. And then with the gua sha, the gua sha is very stimulating for all of the meridian lines. So you're getting a lot of energetic, energy body clearing with the gua sha. You're also breaking up that scar tissue, which is so helpful. And you're supporting the lymphatic system and getting the lymph system moving, and breaking up areas of congestion in the lymph for just holding patterns in the body. So this will be very helpful as well. It's also really important to start to bring in cleansing for both the upper channels and the lower channels, okay? So we're going to talk about this a little bit. For the upper channels, we're really looking at getting the respiratory system all cleared out. And that's because we have a different focus for Panchakarma when we're heading into the fall season. At springtime, our focus is more like on liver and gallbladder, that's more our intense area of focus. But when we're moving into the fall, our Panchakarma has a bit more of a focus on building and really, getting the immune system nice and strong, get those respiratory channels nice and clear, and in particular, putting our focus on both the lungs and the intestines, okay? So that's where we're mainly looking to do our detoxification work. Of course, we do supply support for the digestive organs because they're part of that process. They're part of that cleansing process. It's all interconnected. But our main focus is on clearing out the lungs and clearing out the intestines. So I'm gonna talk about some techniques to start bringing these pieces in because some of it is very essential to get started on early. I'm gonna start first with the upper channels. So we already talked about neti pot, okay? And over the next couple of days, I will be doing a video where I actually demonstrate neti pot, and I'll go into that more deeply and talk about different applications for neti pot. So I'm not going to go into that too thoroughly right now because I really want to cover that material when I actually do the neti pot video. If you don't have a neti pot, don't worry. You can still work with nausea, and all that requires is that you have some good oil and that you have the palm of your hand, okay? So you'll be covered, and I will cover that all when we go into the neti pot video. I'll probably do that on Monday or Tuesday, okay? Look for that video to come in. Then we also want to look at doing steam inhalations, and I kind of touched on this a little bit, but right now would be a really good time to also pick up your steam inhalations. And a nice time to do it, I think, is in the evening. It's a wonderful thing to add to your bedtime dinacharya, your evening routine. It just really helps kind of clear everything out. It gets your breathing passages open, and it can be also a nice way to just sort of feel cleansed out from the day. It's like sinking into this little space, this little cocoon, you're almost like your little sweat lodge that you're making for yourself. And it's a time when you can kind of just relax and reflect and just inhale, those lovely herbs that you can put in your water. And it's so easy to do steam inhalations, and it's very necessary. The reason why we do neti pot and we do steam inhalations is because we're trying to clear all of these upper channels, all right? And we want to open up the bronchial passageways. We want to get any old stuck ama that's in the lungs broken up and liquefied so it can start to release, which means you're going to have ama coming up and out, okay? Certainly, if you are also incorporating that lemon, cinnamon, clove, detox tea that I put up the recipe for, that also will give your liver some support, your digestive organs some support there, okay? But another thing it really does is it breaks up the ama, it liquefies ama. So once you throw in neti pot and you throw in steam inhalations on top of this, you're really going to start to have a lot of gunk come up. Okay, so for the steam inhalations, it's just really simple. You boil up some water, you put it in a nice big bowl. You can add some lovely fresh herbs to it. And I do recommend that you do fresh herbs as opposed to essential oils, because essential oils are actually really strong medicine. People don't realize that. And I am also a certified clinical aromatherapist, okay? It was part of my Ayurvedic training. And you can OD it. You can OD it on essential oils, and you can have some really negative side effects. So you want to use essential oils very sparingly. And I find they're too intense in a steam inhalation. They really are, with that concentrated, where you fill up, a nice big bowl of boiling water, and you can throw in fresh herbs, and then you tent your head. You're in a very enclosed small space, okay? And to have that concentration of oil there, it's a little too much, and it won't be as enjoyable of an experience for you. So some nice fresh herbs that you can put in your bowl of boiled water that you're going to tent your head with a towel and lean over and just breathe. You want to do a steam inhalation for 15, 20 minutes. And you can take breaks as you need to. And you might need to come up every 5 minutes or something, but dive back in and really give it a chance to loosen things up. Ted wanted to make his appearance. But you want different herbs that can also kind of support that clearing process. Now, if you don't have any herbs on hand, that's okay too. You can do just straight water. It will absolutely benefit you. It will absolutely start to break up that congestion. But some nice fresh herbs you can use are lemon balm. Ted. Okay, come on, Ted. That's enough. Get down. Lemon balm, peppermint, rosemary is excellent. You could even do a little mullein, would be really nice, okay? You could do some lavender. Lavender is very relaxing and soothing, all right? So you can mix up some things, and you can even put in things like rose petals or a little chamomile, something that has kind of a soothing effect, because we are really looking at also calming vata and bringing in that nurturing element with this panchakarma, since we're preparing to make sure that vata is nice and stabilized as we head into this fall season with the fall equinox that'll be coming up later in September. And the reason for that is that late fall through early winter is vata season, which means it's the time when vata is most likely to go out of balance. It's when the environmental factors are most forward that can aggravate that dosha, which are dry and cold conditions, okay? So we're looking at bringing a little bit more warming elements in, a little more, hydration. So make sure you're also really keeping your hydration up. It's going to be very important, as is bringing in the nice, nourishing oils, also so essential at this time of year. We want to build. We want to build even as we're cleansing. It's so, so important, okay? And we're getting this panchakarma started a little bit early, but it's okay with the timing and the way that it's working out. Since we're doing a 40-day Panchakarma, we'll be right lined up with that fall equinox, and it'll actually be quite lovely. So I'm really looking forward to this journey with all of you. But rosemary is very nice because rosemary creates a very protective space. It also is very much associated with heart opening. And so it gives a space where it's safe to open up your heart to receive love, but also to create a sense of being held as you grieve. And we've talked about how the lungs are connected to grief. And if you have old stuck ama in there, once that starts to loosen with the steam inhalations, and as you're doing neti pot, and you're starting to clear these upper channels, you're likely going to encounter that grief as it comes up and out. And it's so, so essential. And so that's another thing I really enjoy about the steam inhalations is they also give you that kind of like wet, warm space to allow the grief to surface too. And then you bring in those plant allies and they're holding that space with you. And so many of those plant medicines that I brought in are very, very much guardian energies, but at the same time they're very soothing and they're very nurturing. Okay, so wonderful medicine to work with, and mullein is excellent, very, very excellent. Okay, lung specific, really supportive of the lungs. So that's one thing you can do, and you could actually do steam inhalations daily starting now. You could do it all through, this next 10-day cycle, and it would really serve you well. You would get so much moving. It'd get everything in these upper channels opened up, and go with what plant allies you're drawn to, and make sure you do your research too, especially if you have any particular conditions, if you're pregnant or nursing. You want to make sure that you're working with herbs that are safe for you to use. But really, when we're looking at something like rosemary, lavender, peppermint, these are pretty safe. These are pretty safe. Lemon balm, you're going to be okay. All right. But if you start to really deviate from that and you want to pull other things in, I would definitely, do some research, make sure that it's a fit for you. Okay. If you have access to a steam room, or I really recommend a steam room more so than a sauna. A sauna is a bit too drying for what we're going into. Okay. So I definitely encourage you to focus more on steaming. So if you have a steam room you have access to, that's fantastic. Otherwise, really work with these steam inhalations. And if you have a neti pot, start on that neti pot and get that going. And I'll bring in nausea and neti pot in a couple days here, and I'll give a demonstration and we'll go into what that is all about. Okay. Another thing you can do to really start to get the ama liquefied so it can be released and expelled both through the upper and the lower channels is to just make up ginger tea. It's very simple. It works better if you get ginger root, the actual root. And I mean, just chop up a bunch of it, put some purified water in a pot, boil it for 10 minutes. You can put a cover on it. You can let it sit all day there and just heat it up when you want some more. In fact, a very simple way of breaking up ama in the body is to drink a little hot water. It can be just plain hot water, every hour, a few sips. It's amazing how much it starts to bring up the ama congestion in the body and gets everything liquefied so it can be released through the upper and lower channels. Okay, that means you're going to cough it up. That means when you go to the bathroom, it's also going to be flowing out of those downward detoxification channels, just to prepare you. Just be prepared. It's nothing unusual. Sometimes in extreme cases, if you have a lot of ama buildup in your gut, you got a cold, damp gut, you might even throw up okay? You might throw up a big ball of mucus. I want you to be prepared that if that happens, that is completely natural. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's actually very positive. And you might notice too, if you do have this experience, that when that ama comes up and you throw it up, that you also have a huge emotional release and correspondence. This is how I've often seen it go down, okay? So just be prepared for that. The other thing is ghee, okay? Drinking warm ghee first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. Now, this you will want to start 4 days before day 18, 19, and 20. Okay, so 14, 15, 16, 17. So starting on our 14th day, coming up pretty soon here, you'll want to kick this off and get the ghee coming in. And it's very simple. You can get ghee from your health food store. You can get ghee from a Whole Foods or a Wild Oats store. Ghee is pretty readily available nowadays. You can also easily make ghee at home. I will drop a link for a really great instructional on how to make ghee here on this video, so you can look that up if you'd like to make ghee yourself and do a little sadhana, really get yourself into the medicine making, which can be fun. But it's very simple. First thing in the morning on an empty stomach for 4 days, you are going to drink warm ghee, and you are going to do it in a graduated dose, okay? And all you do is you heat it up on the stove until it's liquefied. Please don't microwave it. And then you're going to pour it in a little glass, okay? And make sure it's not too hot. Test it with your finger. You don't want to burn your throat, all right? And when it's at a drinkable temperature, okay? Day 1, you're going to drink 2 teaspoons. Day 2, you're going to drink a tablespoon. Day 3, you're going to drink 2 tablespoons. And then day 4, you're going to drink a 1/4 cup, okay? And what this is going to do is it's going to get everything starting to liquefy in the intestines, all right? It's going to get any old stuck plaque you have in the intestines kind of loosened up. You know, think of it when you got a lot of dry, old, crusty stuff in a pan. You got to soak it first, right? That's like why we're doing so much hydration. You know, drink your lemon water, get your water in, drink your ginger tea, you know, sip on your hot water throughout the day, and then get this ghee in first thing in the morning on an empty stomach for 4 days in a row before we hit day 18, 19, and 20, okay? Because it's going to really set the template for what comes when we hit that point, all right? The other thing that you're going to want to have on hand is about, go out and get yourself about a 1/2 cup of golden raisins and a 1/2 cup of raw sesame seeds, okay? And you're going to want to soak the golden raisins overnight. Just put them in a bowl, pour some water over them, let them soak overnight, and then you can drain them off in the morning. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take those golden raisins that you've soaked and the raw sesame seeds and put them in a food processor, and you're going to blend them up until it makes a paste, all right? This you will be doing once we actually hit the Panchakarma full-on detox on day 18. So you have a little time to prepare for this, okay? But what you will be doing at that time, and I'll remind you, is you will be taking a teaspoon of that mixture before each meal. And let me tell you, it will really get everything clearing out of those lower channels, all right? So I just wanted to get you prepared. You're going to want to get some ghee going on, all right? You're going to start the ghee 4 days before day 18. So just get yourself set up for that now. Look for the link on this video that I'll put in the comment section. I'll pin it there if you want to make your own, but you can easily get it from a store, and you'll be able to get, you know, a small container will do you. You don't need a lot of ghee for what we're going to do this week, all right? But ghee's always nice to have on hand when you're doing any kind of Ayurvedic cleansing, okay? So you might want to have a decent amount on hand, and it is kind of fun to make it yourself. So Be on the lookout for that, okay? Make sure you get yourself some ghee, get your golden raisins, get your raw sesame seeds, so you'll have those on hand. And yeah, go get yourself some fresh herbs. And, rosemary, you can find it growing all over the place, so go harvest yourself some, ethically please, some rosemary or any other fresh herbs you want to use, and start giving yourself these steam inhalations in the evening, just as part of your evening dinacharya, to open up those upper passageways. And if you have a neti pot, you can start using that right now. But we will dive into that on Monday or Tuesday. I'll give an instructional, and I'll also introduce a very brand new type of neti pot method to you that you might not have heard of before. And we'll also incorporate a little breath work with that, a little pranayama that's going to make it a whole comprehensive treatment for the upper channels and your entire endocrine system, as well as your neural pathways. So I'm really excited to share that with you. And it's going to be so soothing for the nervous system, which is essential when we're looking at keeping Vata balanced, because Vata rules over the nervous system. So we want to keep our nervous system nice and stabilized as we head into the fall season, really get ourselves bolstered up so we're resilient. And, make sure that you're also listening to your body. And on days when you're feeling a little low energy, you might have some of that starting to come in as, the toxins begin to release. Do make sure that you're listening to your body. And if you need to dance a little more gently in the morning, if you need to do more active stretching and kind of more flow movement, with your free movement in the morning, do be sure that you respect that. And if you need to take some naps, this is your opportunity, to give yourself that excuse to just rest deeply. It's so essential to integrate what we're doing. All right. So I really wanted to bring these pieces forward because I wanted you all to be prepared and be able to get what you needed ahead of time, and also maybe experiment with it a little bit, start working with some of these methods, or start making your ghee, getting everything dialed in so you'll be ready to dive real deep for those 3 days that we're just going to go in and get it. Okay. So thank you so much. I've really been enjoying all the comments and the interaction, and it feels wonderful to be doing this with all of you. I'm feeling really great. I also am really feeling it today. Definitely bringing that free movement in. I've noticed I'm starting to get, the toxins are releasing, the ama is starting to break up. And I did today kind of need to take a more gentle flow with my exercise, but I did it. I made it happen. And I'm going to turn in early tonight again and get some deep rest. So I'm ready to get back at it again tomorrow. Okay. So have a beautiful night. And if you have any questions, anything you need to clarify with me, please drop a comment. I'm here to help. I'm here to support and to share this experience with you. Take care. See you tomorrow.